she struggled to go with me to the GP. So we visited the GP, and the GP was like, okay, in the next month, you guys should come back.
Let me understand this. The GP didn't do anything.
They just
And then
said,
they said,
come back
in 2 months.
in 2 months. Then we start the process.
Right. And oh my goodness. So God is good. Let me get this right. Your wife, as soon as you stepped out, said,
when I'm coming back here, it's gonna be the pregnancy. And I said, amen.
and that's exactly how it happened.
Yes.
God is funny.
It came at the point where the faith was weakening.
I see you're crying. Is it quite emotional?
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode. One thing that I do enjoy about doing these things is learning about other people. I believe everyone has a unique story that they alone can tell from their perspective and also from their perception. So joining us today is Tunji Adeolu. He is a Christian, and he was raised in a very strong Christian household and background where daily devotion was something extremely important. One of the most interesting thing about his story is that he self-funded his master's in China, which is crazy. And given the fact that he couldn't speak the language, it was a completely different environment and culture to what I suppose he was raised with, which is being from Nigeria. And now he's leading a team of technology experts. So we are in for a treat, and I'm looking forward to speaking with him. So let's get right into it. Hi, Tunji. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome. Yeah. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I think we were just talking earlier, and you were talking about the weather and how hot it is. And
yeah. It's getting hotter now.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
We always complain. So when it's cold, we complain that it is too cold, and when it's hot, we complain that it is too hot. It's very hard to please.
That I believe that's human nature. We can never be satisfied.
Yeah. So there's never going to be a point where you're like, oh,
no,
I'm good.
No.
Okay. Well, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to just diving deep into who you are and what makes you you today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So should we start? I guess, from saying who are you? Who is Tunji, and what's your background? What was growing up like? And
all right.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, I was this kind of little kid, gentle and quiet, growing up in a nice neighborhood. So my dad is he has his personal business that he does, and he's still doing it until now. So I grew up in that business, even right from when I was in primary school to the secondary school. I was right into the business. He's kind of someone that he always wants me by his side. I was not so privileged like my brother to go out and play outside. No, he just want me to sit by his side. So I kind of I got deep into the business. I know like every corners of the business, how it works and everything. So, and it got to a point that I was the one kind of leading the business. I became something like a cornerstone of the business. And from also, I went to the university in Nigeria. I actually studied physics within electronics, and all those like educational experience, because it wasn't privileged to have a degree. So I was able to kind of bring those experiences to business and help him grow the business, which was quite amazing.
Well, that's awesome, because I've heard a lot of people say this, where they say, my dad sort of brought me by his side and he showed me the ropes. He showed me everything that I should be doing today, or like in your instance, he showed you the business.
Yeah.
I would imagine that at such a young age that opened your eyes to a lot of things that maybe your brothers and your siblings were not as, should I say, intuitive to.
That's right. Because I was it's like being by his side kind of opened my heart to a lot of things that as a kid nobody would expect me to know. Yeah. So, and that also kind of like amongst my siblings, I was the first one that was kind of making money at early stage.
Yeah.
Given that all these things that I know.
Yeah.
So, and that helped me even when I got into the uni, I was kind of in my peers, I was the kind of this business mogul where everyone was like, oh, Tunji is always about business. Yeah, just anything that's gonna like get me money, I'm all into it.
Yeah, and I think I'm similar to you because I remember when I was younger. So my dad is in the business of air conditioners and fridges. So
Yeah.
I remember very vividly when I must have been about 7 years old or something, where he was to build a refrigerator from scratch, and I joined him. So I was able to put the tubes. I can't remember exactly what they're called.
Yeah,
They're like these
yeah.
copper looking tubes. You have to put them around the inside, and then you have to put this, I guess, should I say, aluminium looking sheet above that. So that's what people see when you open your fridge. It's that metallic looking aluminium sheet. But behind that, we had to put some foam. We had to put some, I guess, some copper wires that allows the transmission of the temperature into the fridge. So we built it from scratch by buying different parts and everything. And if I look at my life today, I would probably say amongst my siblings, I'm probably the most, let me not say only one, because some of them are watching, but I'm probably the most hands-on. So the most in terms of like carpentry or hands-on work, vocational, all of that kind of stuff. So that's mainly me. And I can see that from maybe the way he brought me up, particularly because I was always wanting to do things with him. And I think that's a quality that a lot of parents should adopt today. I'll let you share your thoughts, but today we see a lot of, and I'm guilty of this, where we send our children to school. We send them to school a lot of times, and they hardly spend that time with us. And they hardly see what your father is doing. So vocationally, what are you doing? Your children are not really seeing it. So they're not really learning from that firsthand hands-on experience. Instead, they're learning the theoretical thing, which is great, but mainly spending the time away from the parents, away from the dads. So I think a lot of dads can embody that type of learning where bring your child to you, learn what I am doing. And hopefully one day you can step into it. And if not, then you can take the skills that you've learned from this to do whatever you want to pursue. And I think that brings a level of maturity that we need in this day and age. What's your thought?
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that. And I think we kind of feel like we are living a modern life, that old life has passed, and we don't have to do things the way our fathers did it, which I don't quite agree with. For me, I would say I'm a Nigeria to the core. I do a lot of things in a Nigerian way, even though I live in an English environment. But that tradition, I still embrace it a lot.
But let me push back on that a little bit. Right? So you're Nigerian and you're living the Nigerian sort of way in the United Kingdom. A lot of people would say that is that too appropriate? Because if you want to live like Nigerian, why aren't you in Nigeria?
So no, I agree to a point that when you are in Rome, you do like Romans. But at the same time, I embrace that English value, but along with that Yoruba value. It doesn't mean that because I'm in the UK, I have to throw away everything that relates to my backgrounds, my Yoruba life. I can combine the two. Nothing wrong with that. So that's what I do. I embrace English value. At the same time, I still embrace my Nigerian value. Yeah. So, of course, when I do things, if there is a contradictory between English and the way we do it in Nigeria, because of the law here, I have to do it the way it's done here.
Right. Okay.
But there are some certain things that nothing wrong with doing it the way our father did it, the way we do it in Nigeria. So, and for me, that's why I believe that my kids must know what I'm into, what I do for a living, how I do it. He may choose to live the way he wants, the path he wants to go. That's up to him. But at least he must have knowledge of how I do the thing I do, how I make my money, and he must kind of full knowledge. I mean,
no, which is great. And I want to dive deep into China. So And I know that there's been a lot of things that has transpired between when you were in Nigeria and with dad, and that teaching you as maybe increase your level of maturity. I would imagine you didn't have as much of a childhood like everyone else, did you?
No, no, because I wasn't this type that go and play with friends. I always with my dad. So I remember a time when, you know, my brother, who is younger to me, he was the kind of strict, like he's more free than I.
Right.
Yeah, because I remember there was a time that we do ride bicycle around the street. He will let my brother go and do that, but for me, it's always like sit here.
But why? What's the difference?
I don't know, because I really can't tell the reason. We were so, at least in within our sibling, I'm the one that is quite kind of like look as much as like him. Like when people see me, they see my father in me through my face.
Right. Okay. Are you the firstborn?
I wasn't.
Okay, that's interesting, because it's usually the firstborn that is usually kept.
Yeah, but no, my elder brother is kind of he doesn't. He wasn't that integrated into his business. He wanted to do his thing, so he left the family. I would say, although maybe that's not the right word to use, but quite early that he was doing his own thing.
Right.
So he's into real estate.
Okay.
So, and that's what he focused on. Dad's business, he doesn't want to bother himself with that.
You might even ask us that's business.
Yeah, no, it's more into construction, but more like finishing. It's like, you know, we do the tiling, the marble furniture works. So that's what it's into.
Okay, but that's very similar to.
It's very similar. That's the interesting thing. But he doesn't want to get involved.
Okay.
In his business. Okay. He just wants his own.
So would you say that a level of interest is also is a big factor? So
I think
you showed more interest, maybe, rather than your older brother.
Yeah. I think that's right, because I showed way more interest, and I think that was born from curiosity. I know I was this kid that always curious to know everything. So I remember when I was so little, when my dad bought, whenever I bought toys for me, I'm gonna open it.
Yeah, I think it's enticing, isn't it?
Yeah, I just want to understand how it's working.
Oh, so you actually dismantled?
I dismantled the entire.
Right.
So at some point, I stopped buying it because I'm gonna destroy it. I will open it up, try to see what is inside, and I won't be able to put it back
together. Okay.
Yeah. So at some point, stop. No, I'm not gonna buy this thing for you again. You just gonna.
Yeah. So I think the lesson from that is that I can see, and let me know if you agree, is that so your dad already spotted something in you very early. He saw your curious nature, that you were interested in the business, and rather than, I guess, shunning you away, he embraced you to say, okay, let's develop your interest a bit further. Right. I know that you're not doing exactly what he was doing or what you were doing before with your dad and your dad's business, because you've moved into more of the technological side, but there must have been some, I guess, skills and some soft skills, especially. I think that's one of the things that people don't understand. Soft skills are so important. That's how you relate in the social world. They call some things emotional intelligence.
Right.
You know, the ability to be able to be a leader.
Right.
All of these soft skills are things that I would imagine you have learned from doing your dad's business,
right,
which you have then taken into your current role, which is more of leading a team in the technological sector.
Yeah.
Would you say that was
that's absolutely correct? Because at some point, if I was still at uni that time, I was leading his team. Whenever he has a project, I would be the one to lead.
How old were you?
And I wasn't wasn't up to 20 years old, or maybe early 20s.
And you were leading the team?
I was. So he kind of hand over everything to me, that this project, lead my team to it. And I was there coordinating everything. And you mentioned about emotional intelligence. I think I was able to succeed in doing it because I have empathy of people. I try to understand how people feel, and I believe as a leader, I need to lead, be an example to other people,
Yeah.
and I need to understand their situation.
Yeah.
Because when people are working for you, it's not only that you are paying them their salary, you also want to make sure that they feel comfortable, they feel healthy, and their mental health is everything is they don't have any issue.
Yeah.
So, and those were the things that I always kind of pay attention to.
Yeah.
So many times I've seen some of his worker that will come to me that I'm really struggling with something. I need a raise. Can you help me? And I'll be like, okay, no problem. I will find a way to put the story together.
Yeah.
And I put it to my dad that he's going through this and this and this, and this is the only way you can help him out.
You see, that is what is missing when you look at, let's say, the general, is it Gen Zs and Gen Alpha?
Yeah.
So, and I'll pose this question and let me get your thoughts.
Yeah.
When we look at Gen Z and Gen Alpha, one of the biggest complaints that people have, or the older generation, so the millennials, for example, or older than them, the boomers, one of the complaints that they have is that these people they are not busy. They're just going about causing havoc in the communities, in the society.
Yeah.
Then the question is, as fathers, have we failed in our role of building up the interest that we find in them so that they're not in the streets causing havoc? Or is it that these children in this age are just not interested?
So I think the former is what I think is happening. As a father, these days many parents, we just kind of like, we want the child to choose his path, and then we leave them to themselves. We don't care where they go, what they do. We don't try to kind of build them up in order for them to even achieve something in life. We kind of like left everything to the school, and government.
Dangerous.
So, which is dangerous. That's why you see many of them on the street doing nothing, and you see them even when they tell you that they are going to school, they actually went somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's the backgrounds, it's the way they were brought up, and to me, I put that on the family. Some people may disagree with me. They might think that, oh, it's the teacher that have to do all.
But who are you to blame other people for your own children? That's what I think.
Human being, we have this attitude that we are at ease when we find some people to put the blame on. We don't like accepting the blame ourselves that we are at fault.
Yeah.
We put it on someone else, and then we feel comfortable.
So the bottom line is that as parents or as individuals, we need to learn to take responsibility for what is happening.
Right.
I think if children and Gen Zs and Gen Alphas or the future generation, if they are raised in the way that our fathers used to raise us, or they raised us, in the sense that it was less of the influence from teachers and the government and more of the influence from the family, the father especially, and the mother especially, and that's where you build children that are go-getters. That's where you build characters that's able to be to have empathy on people and be able to lead in this generation. Because I can go on and on and on about that, but I think that's one of the big lessons that I've learned, definitely from my experience and also looking at your family experiences. But let us go into I have two questions. One of them, you mentioned that your family is a strong Christian family and you were brought up in a strong Christian household.
Yeah.
Here's my question, right? Regarding that, there is a belief that in those type of households, your faith is inherited, not necessarily, should I say, believed. So there is this notion that if you grow up in a Christian household, the only reason why you uphold that faith is because they've groomed you into it. Versus to say you came to realization yourself and decided that this is the faith for me.
So I think what I would say is that no, it's important that we show our children the way of God, and for them to kind of continue on that is left to their faith. But at least you have shown them the
The way.
background.
Mhm.
You have showed them the clear way of God, what God wants, what you should be doing in terms of God's way. So I think what I got from them is that Christianity is is the is the one thing that kind of make you a good human being. Maybe I should put it that way.
Mhm.
So because my dad, especially my mom, she is very, very deep. Like that early morning devotion, we don't miss it. Even when I was sleeping, she's got a bell. You will be hearing
Oh my
it.
goodness.
Baby, which means it's time to get up.
Yeah.
And if I don't get up on time, she will come to my door and she will be
Right in your ear.
right in my ear. So I kind of used to that.
Mm.
So when I was on my own, I was able to build on that and continue on that path.
Right.
So the foundation is necessary. If the foundation is strong, I think it's gonna be difficult for the children to kind of forge that path because they don't have the background.
Yeah, but I also, to build on that, I also believe that yes, the foundation is extremely necessary. But there's always an encounter. There's always a moment where you come to a realization that I need God. Everyone's trying to fill something. Everyone's trying to fill a space, and the Bible tells us that train your child the way he should go, so that he will not depart from it. I mean, I have my own personal testimonies where they have shown you the way, they've trained you the way you should go. You might then go wayward. You might go your own way, separate way, but there's always that U-turn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you come back to the foundation because the pavement is structured, right? The way has been laid.
Yeah.
So the danger is that if the way was never laid, where are you going to come back to?
Exactly.
So that's the danger. So
yeah.
Should we move to China?
Okay.
What in the I have been to China.
Okay.
And China, to me, is a completely different world. Completely different
Definitely.
world. There are a lot of things that we use in the Western world that are banned in China. For example, WhatsApp.
Yep.
So you have to use their own version of WhatsApp. I think it's called WeChat or something.
WeChat.
Yeah, WeChat, something like that. And even Google, you cannot use over there. No. They have their own version. So you can't even use international payment cards. So, and if you're to use it, you have to find a way to get it through WeChat to be able to use it. So those were the things that I found.
Yeah.
So for you to go from Nigeria, a place where it is hot, a place where you're hearing Yoruba every day, with the downfall drivers and the noise, the humidity, the liveliness, the music, to then say, you know what, I'm going to go to China. And not that you were offered, say, money to say come and study here and sponsorship.
No,
you said you're gonna sponsor yourself.
Yeah.
And work hard and study, and then you chose China. What was going on there?
So I think it all started from the fact that when I was in uni in Nigeria, I got tired of Nigeria education because I faced what I could say a hell during my undergraduate with my lecturers. So in Nigeria,
wow.
And I kind of my friends who are in other university, I asked them, and it's like they have similar experience, and I was like, if I'm going to do my master degree, it's not going to be in this country. So, and I spoke to my dad. We look at the money. He said, this is too much for me.
In
Nigeria.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to find a way to help myself. So, because I was so curious, I was like, at that time, I wasn't thinking about China, right? So
you couldn't even speak Mandarin.
I couldn't. I even tried to learn it. It was difficult for me, and then I stopped. That I'm not going this part.
Yeah. Wow.
So the story started that after some point, I got an opportunity to move to Qatar, so to work. So I was in Qatar for about a year and a half, and I was so lucky. God so blessed me that based on the knowledge, I've worked with my father, the skill I've gotten there, I was able to put that skills to work, and gradually, I rose to the top within 1.5 years, and in Qatar, and I was able to accumulate a lot of money for my master's degree.
Yeah, wow.
So during that period, I was because in Qatar they value institutions that are in the first 100 list, top 100 universities. So I was searching that I don't any uni that's not within that I don't want to go. So I was searching. I saw a school in Canada. I applied and then continued searching. I just saw this uni around 45 on the list, and I went on their site. I searched, blah blah blah, and then I applied.
Is it the China uni?
In China?
Okay.
Actually, in Hong Kong, in China.
Okay.
So I applied and I got an offer, and even with the one in Canada, and I was deciding which one to go.
So you even had the option to go to Canada?
I had the option. Okay. I had the option. So as I was thinking, I was looking on my Facebook one day. I haven't accepted the offer at this point, and I saw one Nigeria studying that school.
One
Nigeria studying PhD.
Just one.
He was the only one. So I reached out to him that, how are you finding it in that country? And he said, it's amazing. If you want to come, it's nice. And I was, yeah, I'm going there. I just want to explore. I want to see what's in there. Yeah. So and it was so funny because before I was able to meet that guy, I decided to accept it, the one in Canada, and I rejected their offer.
Right.
So after I spoke to this guy, I was like, oh, this is where I want to go. So I wrote an email to the school that, can you give me the offer back?
Yeah.
And then they did.
Wow.
So, and that was it. Blah, blah, like that. The visa is processed, and I saw myself packing my bags and from Qatar straight
to China. Wow.
To China. So, and yeah, that was how I got started.
So what was it like living in China? How long did you stay there?
I was there for almost 3 years, including the time for the studies.
Wow.
Because after the study, I started working in China. So, and I got, even me being the information security today was the privilege I had over there. So
right.
I was, even before I finished my education, I was in second semester when I got the offer to work as a network security analyst. So that opportunity opened that door for me. So, and that's why sometimes I kind of say to myself that if I hadn't go to China, will I be in information security?
Yeah.
Because even the course I studied wasn't related to information security.
Even in China.
So
how did you find yourself in information security if you didn't study that?
So it all still goes back to my background. I love everything. I love computer. So at some point, my dad decided to buy a computer for me, desktop computer.
Okay.
So I was playing with it. So, and when I wanted to go for undergraduate in Nigeria, I wanted to do computer science. Mm-hmm. But my brother, being my elder brother, being that he doesn't know anything about computer science, and my dad doesn't know anything either. And he was like, what's computer science? And this is, actually, I wanted to do computer engineering, but I didn't get that offer. And they offered me two options, computer science or physics with electronics. And he said, go for physics with electronics. That's better, blah, blah. So I couldn't, because he told my dad, and my dad agreed with him. So I had to do that. So when I was there, and I just found out that this isn't for me. So from there, I started moving gradually into information security, started doing CCNA, CCNP, all those external exams. So even before I finished my undergraduate, I had a CCNP certificate. Yeah. Wow. So that was
you were doing that with your own initiative?
With my own initiative. Nobody, and though I had a group of friends in my class. So we all loved that, and we were doing that. If it became a competition at some point that I've passed this. Let me see if you're gonna pass it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So that was how I rose to the level of passing C. It's Cisco certification. I forgot. It's network security professional.
Okay.
Cisco certification.
So, how was it like living in China?
So, I got to China and I didn't know anybody, and I went straight to the school. So, and from there, I started meeting some people. Though in Hong Kong, the program is in English, and a lot of people,
right?
Like I would say, many people speak English. So, which is what makes it easier in Hong Kong. But in mainland China, it's a different story.
I went to mainland China.
Yeah, it's a different story. So, I was there in the school, and the education system is different, and it was difficult a bit to adapt because the grading system is like a competition in the class.
Right.
It's not the scale of 60-40, then you have A, B, like that. So you have to compete with your classmates. So it's based on the mean value. The mean value, that's what the grade is going to be.
Right.
So if everybody is, even if you score 92% and majority of people is under 92%, you are only getting B.
Wow.
Yeah. But if you do push higher than the rest of the class, you have your A.
But there are two issues with that I can see.
Yeah.
And maybe not issue. Obviously, they must have thought this out. Does that not foster? It fosters I guess a culture where you try to be the best.
Yes.
But in a situation where you have mediocre people, so everybody's getting 60, 60, 60, is that an A? Or say 60, 60, and then someone gets maybe 70, is that an
A? So if everybody is getting 60, 60, that is mean score.
Right.
So which is gonna be B. So this is the way they do it actually. At least someone is still gonna get A, definitely.
Right.
It might be single person, but some people are gonna get A. So once they calculate the mean value, there will be some people that will shoot above that. So those are the ones that are getting A.
So my question is, how far above that do you shoot? So
it doesn't really matter. It depends on the average score. So if the average score is 60, and maybe only a few people get 62 or 61, you have A automatically.
Really? Is that not problematic?
I think it's not. Because number one, it encourages you to study harder and try to be the best, as you mentioned. But the problem I saw with that myself is that it makes people not to share information with you. If you know something that all the class doesn't know, you keep it to yourself. Yeah. Because you know that if they know it, they will.
It will affect your score.
It's going to affect your score.
Yeah.
So that was the problem with it. Because even my Chinese friends, we were close, and if they have information, I bet you they're not going to tell you.
Is that? That's a big problem, though.
It's a problem.
It doesn't foster collaboration.
It does.
Working together.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It does.
Wow. But what about just living in the city? So aside from studying,
aside from the Hong Kong is so friendly, the people are friendly. It's more like international city. You see a lot of international people. So and given that majority, like many people speaks English, if not good English, but at least they understand English communication. So you feel it's relaxed. So you feel comfortable. It's a nice city.
Yeah. And one thing that I did enjoy about China is their hospitality.
Yes.
Their hospitality is next level.
Yes.
Next level. I remember we went for a foot massage with a colleague of mine in mainland China. And when you go for a foot massage here, you put your feet in the bowl, and then they just sort of make you remove the dead skin and all of that. That's all you get. There's no extra. You paid for foot massage, I will give you foot massage.
Yeah.
In China, when you go for foot massage, they do all of that, And on top of that, they're coming in with drinks. They're coming in
Yeah.
with snacks. They put a big TV in front of you to be watching a movie on Netflix or whatever. So it's the hospitality. I think when I came away from that experience, I was thinking, if I were ever to have a business, this is the kind of hospitality I want to offer my my customers, so that they feel this special.
I think that is the way they are, because after I finished my study, I started exploring mainland China, and I was able to even go into their root village. I had a Chinese friend, and it took me everywhere, and the type of welcoming I always receive is kind of top notch. When everybody see me like this, they just want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Even though I don't understand their language, but I have someone interpreting for me.
Yeah. Wow.
They come to me, sheshe.
I know that sheshe means thank you. Right?
Yeah.
I think sheshe means thank you.
That is kind of, it's amazing, I must say, because I travel like length and breadth of China. Went to Beijing, went to Shanghai, went to their root village. I'm kind of too. There was a time that we traveled by roads in a bus, and we were stopping almost like every village. I'm the only black person in there, and when they see me like this, everybody gather
like a celebrity.
Exactly, and I mean, they want to speak to me.
But I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that China is, or maybe they do know, it's like China is not so diverse when you go into like the rural parts, so like the villages and all of that. It's usually the main cities like Shanghai, Beijing, and Hong Kong. Even though there's a dispute between Hong Kong and mainland China, but those are the places where you would mainly see a lot of cultural differences, a lot of diversity. But China is a lovely place. It's a lovely place.
It is.
So why did you leave?
So I was working in networks as a network security analyst with this company, and I've been there. I was doing well, and I had this boss. He studied in the UK, so he was my boss, and we were close. We chat like friends. We talk like father to son, because it's more older, of course. It's an Adeolu. So, and he kept telling me that, Tunji, you have to leave China. I was like, I'm enjoying this place. But he said, you want to grow your career, and I don't think China is the best place for you.
All right.
And he was the one that actually facilitates how I moved here.
Right.
He helped me a lot. And I never thought of Britain for once, coming to Britain. So at some point when he started pestering me that I need to move to West, so I decided to visit UK. That was the first time I would even be in Western country.
Wow.
So I visited. I was in London. And I must tell you, when I stepped in London, I was like, is this London? Knowing where I was coming from, this mega place, everything.
Yeah, it's not so wow, right?
No wow at all. I was like, is it in London that everybody was shouting like in the top notch?
Yeah. I mean, it always amazes me. It's Great Britain, but it's a very small island.
Yeah.
But I think what makes it great is the culture, the history, as well, and what they were able to accomplish, which is from a very small island to be able to accomplish all of
that much in the global stage. It's really amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. So let's talk about. Do you still have some Chinese friends? Do you keep in touch with them?
Yeah, I do. I still have some, but we don't communicate regularly
as much.
Yeah.
Okay. And would you say that because you clearly are a very cultured man, in a sense that you have been to Nigeria, Qatar, China, United Kingdom. You've experienced all of these different cultures. What are the advantages, I would say, of being so cultured?
Yeah, so I think, having knowledge of different culture helps you a lot, even with your management skill. Because even when I was in Qatar, I had opportunity to travel to India to do some work. So I worked with India. I worked with Japanese. No, and obviously I've worked with Chinese. I've worked with people, the Philippines. So I've worked with different people. And for me, I like asking questions about their culture and even tasting their food.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not picky. I can eat any food. So that knowledge of different culture, of different the way different people do things in their own way is kind of unique, and that experience helps build your career in terms of the management skills as well. So that's why if my team is diverse, I'm gonna manage them effectively.
Yeah.
Because if I have India, I understand India culture.
Yeah.
If I have Japanese, I understand them. Chinese, I understand them. So I'm able to unite everybody together, given that I have knowledge of their culture.
No, it's fantastic. I think that should be a goal for anybody, is to at least have some knowledge of different cultures, because this world is already a global world.
Yeah.
It's gone are the days where you're restricted to your nation, or you're restricted to your society or to your environment.
Right.
Now, because of the age of internet, you can work with people from anywhere, and the world there's a lot more, migration, people moving from A to B. It's more global, and you will be missing out if you're unable to understand the different cultures. So,
Definitely.
yeah, for sure. Let's talk about this. One thing that I do know about you is that you did say that it took you a long time. So you got married, and then we'll talk about that journey. And then part and parcel, especially for a Nigerian family, is as soon as you're married, the next month they're like, "Where's the baby?" It's sort of what the parents expect and what people expect, especially in the Nigerian society.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned that it took you a while longer than expected, or than the norm, to be able to. And I'm happy you have a baby right now, pretty young.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell me about that story? How long did it take? You expected?
So I would say I married a little bit late, and there was pressure from my family. And especially when you start making money, they just want you to. So, but no, at the early stage, I had problem with relationship, that the person which I was with then, and things didn't work out. And since then, I just want to be alone.
Right.
So so it took me a bit longer to get married, and when I got married, and it was something that my parents were eager to see my baby, because it's like I'm the only one that hadn't had a baby. My brother has two right now, my younger brother. So I was the only ones. My parents were very concerned that we need to do something. So after I got married, that time my wife was in Nigeria. So, and usually she's with them, and I travel frequently to Nigeria. So over time we try. I travel very frequently to Nigeria. So we try. Nothing was coming. But the one faith that I like about that woman is that she just believed that this thing is gonna come naturally. She had that strong faith, because we did test, everything was fine. So, and she was like, she believed that when it's God's time, it's gonna come. And because of the love that even my parents asked for her, so there wasn't any pressure from my parents to her.
Right.
So they just kind of let everything flows. So, and when it's gonna come, it came as a surprise. And it came at the point where I was kind of like saying, like the faith was weakening
Last minute.
last minute. And I was like, let's seek alternative medical solution. Initially, she didn't agree. She was like, I've been saying that for long. She said no, that she wants natural conception. So at that point, I was like, especially when it was with me in Newcastle, I was like, let's do this thing. No, she's been saying no for a longer time. So, and she she struggled to go with me to the GP. So we visited the GP, and the GP was like, okay, in the next 2 months, you guys should come back, blah, like that. And when we stepped out of the hospital, she said, when I'm coming back here, it's going to be with a pregnancy. And I said, amen. And that was exactly what happened.
Right. Let me understand this. So the GP didn't do anything.
They didn't do anything. They just
said,
wait, come back
in 2 months.
In 2 months. Then we start the process.
Right. And oh my goodness. So God is good. Yes. So let me get this right. The GP says, did nothing, just inspected.
Yeah.
And then he says, okay, come back in 2 months and start the process for what you've been wanting, right? Because your faith at this moment is wavering.
Yes.
And your wife, as soon as you stepped out, said, well, the next time we're coming here, we would already be pregnant.
Yes.
And you said amen.
Amen.
And that's exactly how it happened.
Yes.
God is funny.
Yeah, I was on that fateful morning. I work from home in my office. I was working, and I was behind the door, and I just heard that noise calling my name. I rushed out. What was that? And she handed me this thing. I was looking at it. Is it real? So she said, yeah, that she's been feeling it for some days, but she wasn't sure. So she decided to take the test. And that was how it started.
Wow. I see you're crying. Is it quite emotional?
Yeah.
Wow. Tears of joy.
Exactly.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy.
Thank you.
It's a lovely feeling.
Yeah.
1 down, 10 to go.
Abby. Yeah.
So how's it been since the baby?
Well, obviously it's been the thing of joy.
Do you want to take a break? Or?
Yeah, maybe. Let me just clean my. Can I get a tissue?
Yeah, of course. 1 second. Welcome back. We had to take a quick break so that you can I ask the question? What made you so emotional?
No, I would say a tear of joy. Indeed, I'm just so happy, overwhelmed with happiness. Each time, when I think about it, all the experiences, kind of drive me emotionally. That there's nothing God cannot do when you have faith. And even he said in his word that even if you have faith as small as mustard seed, what his dad is gonna do for you is amazing. Amazing thing, that unbelievable things. And that's, if sometimes I reflect back in my life, and at every point, at every step that I've been taking, there's always a sign of God being there. Even when things are difficult, even in my career, when things are difficult and challenging, I've always seen the presence of God. And that faith always drive me, whatever I'm doing and anything I want to do, I have that strong faith that God is always with me. And God has never failed me for that.
Yeah. That's a beautiful story. Beautiful story. So let me just, I think, leave it here and say, what would be the one life lesson that you want anybody listening to this to learn from your story?
Yeah. So what I would say is have faith in God. When you have that faith, I mean unshakable faith, God is gonna do it. Most of the time, we plan that we want it to go this way, but God's plan is actually different, maybe opposite to what we're thinking. That's why we usually get it wrong. But have that faith that God is with you, and so whatever you're doing, God will always be there for you. That's helped me a lot. Even when I'm the lowest point, that faith has kept me going.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's deeply inspirational. And I hope and pray that it encourages somebody today to, one, be cultured, to have a level of empathy, to be a visionary, especially being a man for your home, and to listen to your wife, you know.
Yeah.
And above all, I would say it is to know that God, as big as He is and as large as He is, it says, use the earth as His footstool, still cares about a minute person like you. And there will be a time when He will reveal Himself to you for an encounter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you.